This is by far my favorite new iPhone accessory. Let's check out the highly sought Moment SuperCage. Real quick, if you want more breaking Apple news and reviews, hit that subscribe button. Here's a riddle for you. What do you get when you combine a powerful USB-C hub and an all-metal filmmaking cage? I presume you all know, but it's the Moment SuperCage. It's basically a mount for your iPhone with an integrated USB hub to connect all your various accessories and peripherals. I'll show you how it works. So in the middle, you have this super strong grip for your iPhone. Personally, I think I'd have preferred a MagSafe mount here rather than this spring-loaded one. They're just easier to use. When I asked Moment about it, they said this is more secure for photographers and videographers who are running around with this, which is fair. You can technically just start filming like this. You don't need to connect anything. This does give you a better grip on the camera and you can just start shooting. They even sell a version of this called the base cage that lacks the hub, and it's cheaper if that's more your speed. Of course, if you want to use the hub, you just connect a USB-C cable to the bottom of the SuperCage into your iPhone. Then you'll have access to a whole array of ports. Along the back, you'll have a 10 gigabit per second USB Type-C data port, 3.5mm audio input and outputs. There's an SD 4.0 slot, a USB charging port with up to 100 watts of input power, and another USB-C port with 10 gigabits of data for your iPhone. Also hiding, though, is a full-size HDMI port on the left, and the right side has an additional USB-C high-speed data port. In total, that's 6 downstream ports, plus the USB-C power connector. By the way, when I shoot, I typically use the Moment Pro Camera app or Kino. Both are great. Apple's stock app is really good too. If you want to learn more about how to master that, you can check out the video that I've linked here. So other cool things that are worth knowing about the SuperCage. Unlike with Moment's last filmmaker cage, this is crafted from a single piece of aluminum. The last one, while good, kept getting loose and the screws would need to be tightened. This single piece design obviously solves that issue. It's super sturdy. Next, the design is super thoughtful. It's covered in just mounting holes all over the place. Spread out across the device, there are 39 quarter mounts and 4 3/8 mounts, plus 4 cold shoe mounts. Based on a lot of my gear, I could have perhaps used a few more cold shoe mounts, but that's just me. And you can always switch things around based on kind of the layout of the rig itself. The top and sides are NATO rails, so you can affix any standardized gear to those, such as additional clamps, mounts, or grips. Then the bottom is ARCA, making it compatible with basically any ARCA tripod. That includes my Peak Design travel tripod that I love and take with me, or my more professional small rig one. I guess finally, on the little design touches, each of the corners has its own little cable routes to make it a bit easier to manage. So what kind of things would you connect to the SuperCage? Obviously, depending on your use cases, this could all change, but I'll go over some of the things that I find useful in my shooting. On the phone itself, there's a bunch of different lenses and filters that you could go with. From Moment, I love their new quick lock filters. They quickly connect right to the top of the Moment case. Something like a V90 is quite popular, or my fave, the Cinebloom, which has this like really cool, dreamy-like effect. They do have full-size filters too if you don't want to use a Moment case and you can just use a clip to attach. Moment is also known for its mobile lenses. They have a ton to choose from for filmmaking, including the anamorphic for that lens flare that is just hard to beat. You don't have to use Moment stuff though. If you prefer, you could go with like ShiftCam or Sandmark if you have any of that gear. Obviously, you're just connect these directly to your phone and the cage is basically agnostic. Moving to the hub itself, of course, storage is going to be number one. You can use an SSD plugged into the hub to record to directly, including with 4K ProRes footage. Right here, I have a LaCie SSD that I like, but I would also just as quickly recommend the latest Lexar drives or the Samsung T-Series that's really popular. Alternatively to an SSD, you can connect like an SD card and write to that. You should use a fast one though, like a V90 UHS-2 card that can keep up with that high resolution footage. Lighting is a huge thing. Currently, I have a Lume Cube attached here, which is really nice, but I also like my Aperture MC one that's a little bit more customizable and has some different color options. There are audio ports there on the bottom, so a microphone is a necessity. You can also plug that microphone into the data port if it's USB-C, or plug it into the headphone jack, which also will work. If you want to use an audio monitor, you can plug in some headphones too. Then there is an HDMI port there, so I have a monitor connected, which can give the person behind the camera a larger screen, or you could actually even have it facing the other way and let the talent see where they are within the frame. Finally, power. You will need power for some of the hub features, just like you may on your computer. Ones like the card reader or USB port seemed fine for me, but connecting an external monitor did require me to connect to that power cable. When using something like my Peak Design mobile tripod, I hang this battery pack from the counterweight hook on the bottom, and then I use the retractable cable to power the whole thing. It works nicely and keeps things organized. It powers up all the accessories and keeps my phone charged while I'm shooting. You could also go with something smaller, like many of the different small MagSafe ones that you could mount directly to the cage with some sort of clip. This thing is seriously kitted out. I love it for so much of the customizability and modularity. As a nice bonus, it can act as a Mac hub too. I could shoot, take out my phone and just use it, and then connect this to my Mac to import stuff directly from the SSD or the memory card without having to take them out. I love the SuperCage. It's basically the ultimate filming companion for your iPhone. I fully expect to see this at the center of some Apple rig in a behind-the-scenes video. It has everything you need. If I'm trying to be particularly harsh and find some negatives, I will say it just gets expensive. You buy the cage itself, and then you buy lenses or filters, and then you start adding on attachments and monitors and all these different things. You'd be looking at a pretty high bill for just a whole rig. Then again, no one ever said photography and videography were cheap hobbies to get into, or professions. It's nice that you can start with something more affordable, like the filmmaker cage, then go up to a base cage, or go all the way up to the SuperCage. Same with your accessories. You can start with an affordable shotgun mic before going up to something pricey, like a DJI Mic 2. It's all just modular and caters to your needs and your wallet. Let me know what you think of the Moment SuperCage down below. If you want one, I put a link in the description, as well as for many of the accessories I highlighted in this review. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.